Hi, it's Beth Norman Roberts. Today I have a technique called four corners. My friend April Williams once again came through and showed me a technique that I have wanted to do but never did it. And I tried it during a challenge and I just love it. So I think you will too. Let's get started.
All right, today we're making two cards. We're using the Friends Are Like Seashell set. It's retiring, so I thought I would use it in one last tutorial today. Very easy cards to make. I'm showing you the four corners that was introduced to me, like I said, by my girlfriend April, and she never disappoints. So the pieces today that we're going to make those two cards, we're going to need a 3x3 white, 2.5 by 3 3/4 white, gold. Now, if you don't have gold, any shiny color will do. And if you don't have that, then just use a mat of your choice. I like the gold. It's rich and it just is a beautiful color. So we need a 2 3/4 by 4. And then a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And because we're doing two cards, we need two of those today. And then we're going to take a regular sheet of paper and we're going to cut a 1/2 inch off. So it's going to be 8 inches by 10 1/2. And that little tiny piece of paper that we cut off, we're going to keep that because we're going to need that for our little sentiment right here. Take your large piece of paper. If you have a grid paper, that's great. If not, you can guess roughly where the center is. If you want to put a light pencil mark in each corner where it will be straight line from top to bottom, left to right. And we are going to use our stamps. Now I have them on blocks already. And I like to start with the largest one. You can mix up your colors however you like. I'm using Crumb Cake and Balmy Blue, but my preference for myself is to stay with the brown color on to my cardstock. The blue will be used later. You can go over the edges as well. You don't have to keep everything on the paper. It'll look more natural by putting some colors over top of the edge. You'll see me do that. Because it's a bigger stamp, I do like to ink it in between each stamping. There, we made 4 corners. So when we cut the paper, it's going to all have some of the seashells on it. Now again, this is just my preference when I put my colors down. It's quite fine to overlap. I'm going to roughly cut around here. Now you can stamp on your sticky note and then cut exact, but this really is not an exact science to this particular stamping. And there, I wasn't exact there, so I just cover it up going in another direction. Now what we'll do is we will fill it in with smaller stamps. So there is the 4 corners, and we're ready to cut. I want to cut at 5 1/4. by 4. And there we have our 4 corners. Next, we're going to create a beach. I'm going to blend, tap off a little bit of color here. And just slightly blend along the top. Now I'm going to take one of the sentiments. You are unique and completely amazing. Amazing. And I'm just going to put it down in the center here. And this will go over like so. So I'm going to glue around the open circle. And then taking my gold, I'm going to glue it on. And there we have card number 1 done. Now we're going to emboss with a clear embossing powder. And I'm using this little bag here. An embossing buddy is what I call it. And that takes away the static so that it doesn't leave clingy embossing powders on. And it takes away your fingerprints. If you don't do that, then you will not have a very nice result from embossing. Using my Versamark pad, you'll see that it's quite dirty, but it does still work as clear. It's just some ink stains. And I'm going to randomly place my rubber stamps all around. And it leaves a little watermark so that you can tell where the stamp lands. That way we're not overlapping. And just like in the first card, I'm going to just put a little bit of edging of a stamp on. carefully picking this up. Okay. This is my clear embossing powder, and I'm just putting it all over. Just that looks good. Move that well out while I use my heat gun. Back to my Balmy Blue, I'm now going to ink all over my background. There. Unfortunately, there was a little spot that my finger may have touched, or some powder may have skimmed across it. I'm now going to layer this onto my gold. Taking my scrap, I'm going to put the sentiment on. Make sure your sentiment is well inked. You want to keep it to the top so that you have some bare space so that you can adhere it to the back of the gold. Paper snips would work quite well trimming, but of course, in the midst of my very clean stamp room, I can't find them. I guess that's a struggle we all have, isn't it? Keeping our stamp rooms clean. I asked Al once if he would help me clean it, and he certainly did. He put everything on the shelves, but then nothing was labeled and I couldn't find things, so I had to redo it. And it seems like between every project, I am redoing my stamp room. How often do you clean yours? I'd love to know in the comments. I clean mine at least once every 3 weeks, sometimes completely in between 2 projects, depending on how big they are. And there we have it. We have another finished card. Thanks for joining me today. I had a great time making these Friends Are Like Seashell cards. Bye-bye.